Welcome to CSIS and to this Thai Speaker Series program that's made possible with support from the Royal Thai Embassy, for which we're very appreciative. My name is Murray Hebert. I work on the Southeast Asia program here at CSIS. I have the honor of hosting today our old-time friend, Kavi Chongkittavorn, who I first met probably 30 years ago as when I was... 32, okay, you remember. I don't know where the first time is. We were both journalists back in the day, but I remember being very frustrated because we both covered a lot of the Cambodia talks to try to end the Vietnam's involvement in Cambodia, and he would get all these scoops from these ASEAN foreign ministers, and I had trouble getting them even to talk to me. So Kavi is a very talented journalist who gets people to talk to him. And then in 1990, Kavi and I were among the group of 3 journalists from Reuters. He was with The Nation. I was with the Far Eastern Economic Review, allowed to open a bureau in Hanoi. So we were neighbors, happened to be neighbors across the aisle in this apartment, across the hall in an apartment building. But I don't remember a lot of your stories, Kavi, but I remember one that I was actually jealous I never thought of writing. So, and I don't hope nobody's offended by this story. Some Vietnamese restaurants serve dog meat. And Kavi did this story talking about, the dog meat industry. He went to some restaurants, looked around, described what he saw, described how he felt really bad for the dogs because he was used to having dog pets. And he actually got through the whole thing without ever telling us whether he ate dog meat or not. But I was so intrigued by the story. It was one, and it's probably your most famous story in my memory, Kavi. You probably don't even remember you wrote it.
I did.
So Kavi is now at the Chulalongkorn University's Institute for Security and International Studies. He's been a journalist for over 30 years. He worked with the General Secretary of ASEAN in the mid-90s. He was a Nieman Fellow at Harvard, so he's got a really distinguished bio. Kavi, thanks for coming to CSIS, and the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon. In Thailand, after you have lunch, you go for neck massage. But we are here, so we're going to massage your brain a little bit. And I must thank Murray Hebert, because 32 years ago, I was a rookie journalist. I was looking at him. He was a towering figure of reporting from the region. And if he stand up, even today, I still could not fulfill his height. Having said that, I have to remind you, I'm not here on a sales pitch. So I have to apologize in advance if I cause any inconvenience from what I'm comments. And I like to thank CSIS, the Thai Ambassador Pisan, for organizing these events. I also spot some of my friends there, Vikrams and Carls and Professor Michael. And today before I proceed, I will make 3 points about Thailand and its regional environment. First, Thailand, despite all its dysfunctional democracy and nincompoops, is still very important for U.S. strategy, rebalancing. Without Thailand, U.S. pivot or whatever you said will not be effective. 2, again, with all the Thai's dysfunctional democracy and nincompoops, Thailand is still the major force of ASEAN, make no mistake. And I have to say this because people think that, Thailand, especially in the Beltway, just forget about Thailand, nothing to worry about. We have Vietnam, we have Myanmar. Very true. But Thailand, as it is today, actually is very well liked by ASEAN member. I remember in the early 90s, Thailand was supposed to be the model for democracy, the 3rd wave, the 4th wave of democracy. Now, they look at Thailand, they are like us. So we're no longer a threat. That is the best thing that has ever happened to Thailand. That's number 2 point. Number 3, Thailand with its unique positions, cultural linkage, histories, and many other things. Thailand can engage simultaneously with the Chinese, with India, with Japan, and all the rising power at the same time. And that makes Thailand unique. Have you ever noticed that, why we have Tom Yam Krung? Sweet, sour, all together, all this mirage of tests. This is exactly that's made Thailand unique. So these 3 points, I have to remind you, despite all the problems that we have, that make Thailand unique. Now, I focus on Thailand and its regional environment. Why? I think something new is happening. I will give you a snapshot. It's very incomplete. And of course, you will not like what I say because you think that I'm too optimistic. And you can stop me anytime, but don't throw shoes at me because I will take them back home. So please, I like American shoes. Because what is going on in the region out there while you're facing Syria, Iran, it's very interesting. Number 1, of course, everybody talking about South China Sea, talking about maritime Southeast Asia. I, for one, I would like to bring the focus from maritime back to the mainland Southeast Asia, where the great game of the next century will be played out. And Thailand will be part of them, and also Myanmar. And why I say this, because as you can see, and actually I must admit though, I'm very happy that Xi Jinping came here, had a meeting with Obama, and have not agreed on many things, especially on the regional issue, which is good because it leaves a lot of space for ASEAN, for countries in the region to play the game. I have to say this because I think whatever Xi Jinping is doing in the region is very important for us to catch up to know. I will not use rising China because China is already at the top. For ASEAN, it began in the year 2000 when China joined the WTO. And the first thing China did after joining the WTO, ASEAN will conclude free trade agreement with you. For China, completing the WTO is like finish with PhD dissertation. And then negotiate with ASEAN is like try to pass a TOEFL test. So it's like, the Chinese say, wow, do it anytime. So this situation where you have very tense US-China competition, it will intensify. Make no mistake, I think it will intensify. But the real deal is on mainland Southeast Asia. Why? Because Thailand is changing, Myanmar is changing. The reason why I mentioned Thailand and Myanmar, because for the first time, Thailand and Myanmar have normal relations since 1962. And never before 2 Buddhist giants stick together. I think this is something new. I'm very excited. And it has made the focus of the new strategic game, shifting a lot more. And I would like to focus on this. For the past 15, 16 months, America has, I would describe it as completely ignored Thailand because of its own limitations. We have a military government, state of coup. America could not do much. You have to do whatever the law said. That is great. Stop. So the whole relation has been frozen. I hope it will not be mummified. That's what I fear the most. Because this day, 10 months, 15 months of no communication, no relation is a long time, particularly under Xi Jinping. And I must warn you, when we talk about China in the context of Southeast Asia, Xi Jinping is a different kind of leader. It's not like Hu Jintao or the previous Chinese leader. Xi Jinping, he is very confident, and he's already handed out homework, tons of homework, 2 + 7, 10-point proposal, 5 commitments, all sort of things. And tell the ASEAN said, this is your homework, I'm gonna stay here 10 years. You better work out what you want from us. You already know what we want to give you. And the saddest part is that nobody pay much attention because China has too many proposals. But we better study Chinese proposal because there's a lot. And I think America has to catch up. That is why I emphasize that despite all our dysfunctional democracy, Thailand is a very important partner of the US strategy. But somehow this link has been missing. And I would advise whoever that have power or magic that will help move this part of the world, try to connect it with Thailand at the moment. You know why? Because I describe the relation Thailand with major power this way. Thailand loves ping pong, so they play ping pong with all countries, with China, with America, with Japan, with Russia, everyone. And then wake up in one morning, America said, oh, we stopped playing ping pong with you because you wear boots. And Thailand said, okay, we continue to play with the Chinese. We learn a few tricks, and then with the Japanese also, after one week, Japan's changed the attitude. So we continue to play. America said, oh, we are not going to play with you because you wear boots. And we continue to play with China, and then suddenly our muscle become bigger. And then we turn around and sign MOU. And then start talking about buying submarine. And then the Russian never visit Thailand. Medvedev came in and tried to introduce Sukhoi as if we are Indonesian, And then the Korean also come. Everybody's coming to Thailand. We were so surprised. Of all 193 countries of United Nations, only America do not have normal relation with one of the oldest friends, 183 years old. Maybe it's too old, So, and that is, I think, is a major problem. And I think US gets stuck because US do not pursue a dual-track policy toward Thailand. It has done a great job with Myanmar, even top job with Vietnam. Vietnam is the super darling. 3 years ago, it was Myanmar. Thailand was super darlings, 4 or 5 decades ago, but no more. So I think there must be some awakening here that Thailand still occupy the position in mainland Southeast Asia. Now, I mentioned Myanmar. What happening in Myanmar is actually very good for Thailand. And whatever happened in Thailand is also very good in Myanmar. But don't get me wrong. I think a lot of analysis in Washington saying that, because they are military regime. No, that is not the case. I think in the case of Myanmar, because of the domestic dynamic, the peace process that is going on, and the expected nationwide ceasefire, even though it's not complete. At this time, only 7 armed ethnic groups will sign. You know what happened? Thailand will be a witness. And the success of this peace process, a lot of them was due to Thailand's low profile, has been helping, assisting all the armed ethnic groups to travel. We have been providing logistics for almost 2.5 years and intensify in the past 15 months. In the past, if you did that to Myanmar, they would just retaliate. And the most amazing thing is this. I was in Yangon 2 weeks ago. The Thai ambassador to Yangon, Pisanu, told me, he said that his job is very easy because 4 years he lived there, no summon from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs from Myanmar. What does it mean? In the past, Thai, as a diplomat in Yangon, you have to face foreign ministry all the time. They summon you over the border incident. But he said this 4 years, not even single. He said any problem, just a call. So that for me is the most amazing, because Thailand never have such a relation with Myanmar. So what I'm trying to say, this is the first time Thailand with former enemy, you know the history of Thai Myanmar relations. Myanmar invaded Thailand 247 years ago, burned down everything, all these things. And in Myanmar, people have this concept of Nghe Nai, is a Burmese saying that we have conquered Thailand, been there, done that. So Myanmar feel good with Ayodhya. So that is why Thailand and Myanmar now can speak without any sort of suspicion. Now they're very good. I was so surprised. And the most surprising aspect of all this relation is also, for the first time, Myanmar admit that Thailand has done a good job in taking care of the migrant workers, which sounds a little bit odd, because for a long time, outsiders feel that this worker has drained the resource of Thailand, they create problem. No longer that way, because I think Thailand has done a lot of work trying to solve the problem of human trafficking. In the process, has to work on registration, and in the process have to work out all these irregularities and corruption. So in the process has improved a lot of the Myanmar migrant workers. So at the moment there are 800,000 migrant workers that have been registered. They will be able to live in Thailand for the next 2 years before they could be extended, so they can travel. I think that is a very good thing. We have about 5 million Myanmar workers in Thailand. But I don't expect them to go back, even though there is a peace process or in the post-election, because most of them, I think maybe 80% of them would be settled in Thailand for obvious reasons. Number one, higher wage. Number two, of late, when two officers from both countries have time to talk to each other, the top priority of the problem is that how can we improve human resource development along the border? This is amazing. You have to remember Thailand shared the longest border with neighboring country, 2,401 kilometers, and the whole border have not yet demarcated. But it was no longer a problem. The problem is how you can make use of the people live, struggle along the Thai-Burmese border. And lastly, and also was so surprised that the Thai military also start talking about their cooperation on anti-trafficking. This is just the beginning. I think in the future you will see Myanmar Tatmadaw helping Thailand over human trafficking. So this is something new. What I'm suggesting that this completely new scenario between Thailand and Myanmar will generate a new strategic environment that has never before seen. Before that, you approach Thailand separately, you approach Myanmar separately. In the case of United States approached Myanmar with one of the idea that is seeking an alternative, because Thailand has been messed up for a long time, over 10 years, do not provide any good predictability. There are old allies, we have copper gold, but it's not sufficient. And Myanmar has done a great job. Myanmar said no to China. It's a brand name in Misondam. So it created the kind of gung-ho, said that Myanmar really has the guts. So it continued that way. Now I think you will see more cooperative effort between Thailand and Myanmar. And I think this is extremely difficult, and it will increase the strategic value in mainland Southeast Asia. Not to mention the improved relation between United States and Vietnam. Vietnam has done great job strategically, which the Thai, I would say, did not have. I mean, you know, Vietnam knew for a fact that if they enter into TPP, they will get what they want. You look at whoever joined TPP, Malaysia, Vietnam received such a, what do you call, positive response from Washington. You look at Thailand. Thailand also play with TPP, but they play with TPP in a childish way, not serious. That is the biggest mistake. I think Thailand should have joined TPP and withdraw later. But Thailand joined TPP for 1 or 2 hours. During, you know, just to make sure, hey, Obama came, okay? On Monday morning, Obama is coming. Okay, we said that we are interested in negotiating. After he left, everybody forgot. So that kind of attitude is not good. But I think in the end, we should join TPP. And you know, I can cite many incidents where Vietnam was very smart in generating added values for America, but Thailand sitting in, you know, oh, why don't you invite us? You know, we are friends for 183 years. America never thinks that way, you know. America thinks that how can you fit into our core interests or whatever we have. And Vietnam, Singapore, Myanmar were very good. I think Thailand is changing. So I was suggesting that, you know, instead of playing ping pong, we should learn how to play tennis. So we know America well, you know, not American football. So we learn how to fit into American interests a little bit, you know, not just sit there waiting, you know, I'm your friend for 183 years. Come on, you know, say nice thing about, please, you know, say nice thing. You should better understand us or something like that. No way, this is a different world. And that is why Thailand must not be forgotten. Secondly, you have ASEAN. ASEAN will become a community in 90 days, of course, in name. Okay, I'm not trying to sell ASEAN in name, but subconsciously, ASEAN is a community. That's important. The spirit is the ASEAN community, and Thailand is very important. So you want ASEAN, you better be nice to Thailand. And I would say that. Why? Because Thailand, of all this year, has one of the major policy in moving, integrating. Thailand is the craziest country in ASEAN in promoting AEC. We spend nearly, I repeat, nearly 9 billion baht to promote AEC, which is very bad, you know, which is, I don't like it at all because ASEAN is about ASEAN community, it's not AEC, economic community. It's just one of the 3 pillars. But ASEAN, Thai officer, particularly Commerce Ministry, was so scared that Thai businessmen will criticize them. So they promote this concept of AEC, you know, that the Thai must improve the English, the Thai must be ready, because otherwise you cannot compete. Come on, you can be part of ASEAN community without speaking English. You know, you don't need to. You can learn more about ASEAN by reading the material in Thai or in other languages. But the point here is, anything is about AEC. For 3 years, only Thailand. No other country has the AEC campaign. But having said that, so what it has done is that it's increased the kind of understanding, the awareness that Thailand must do more. And Thailand is doing more. But in the past 1 year, Thailand has not yet, unfortunately, I would say, amended a total of 106 laws that impede on free trade. And I think we need to change that. If we have done that, then Thailand will become really what you call the hub of ASEAN. What ASEAN, not only community, the buzzword, new buzzword in ASEAN that US need to pay attention is ASEAN connectivity. China has been very, very clever because ASEAN came up with connectivity 5 years ago. And China, 2 years ago, come out with their own version of connectivity, but they call it Itai Ilu, One Belt, One Road, which has caused a lot of a problem problems in ASEAN because ASEANs try to understand whether one belt is a circle, one road is concrete or sea lane, you know. But the Chinese friends say that this is our interpretation of one belt, one road. If you don't understand our history, it's your problem, so you better study Putonghua. So indeed. So one belt, one road, it had been changing so many times. The Road and Belt Initiative, some use OBOR, but I think the latest official is the Belt and Road Initiative. So this actually is the main instrument that China will use from now on to create what I would focus now. That is China-centric regional order vis-a-vis the so-called US-centric regional order. When you talk about this, people will start laughing. Come on, are you serious? Are you serious? US has been a dominant power for so long. China will never make it. I'm the one who believes that China is making a lot of progress. AIIB was a big surprise when you see a lot of countries that subscribe to the establishment and governance, you know, England and other Western European countries. It's still work in progress. But I think China oceanic-centric regional order is creeping in. It's still work in progress. And we have to watch carefully, okay? But this is the beginning, and people living here must follow because it's going to move very fast. I said that I don't want to use rising China because China is already at the top. It's getting heavier every day. Try to spread out its influence. And this is exactly what China is doing. When you talk about rising China, you're talking about the future. China is already here. China is already in the context of Southeast Asia. It's so huge, so big. It's everywhere. If you read the whole proposal submitted by China since Xi Jinping came to power, it's so many. And ASEAN has not yet paid attention. I think ASEAN need to pay attention to all the Chinese proposal and understand Chinese thinking. Why? Because between US and China, the two have not yet come to modus operandi in the way that they really understand each other in the regional context. It's good. I love this because ASEAN will have a lot of space to manage this too. We can serve as a fulcrum. That is why this coming year, coming months, the meeting like EAS, which will give the impetus for ASEAN to strengthen its internal mechanism, the so-called ASEAN's centrality, so that ASEAN will understand better, form a stronger position whenever they meet the East Asian leader. I think this will be a big change, and this is, I think, is the beginning. So, given the continued contestation between the US and China over Southeast Asia region, of course, you talk about maritime. I try to focus on mainland Southeast Asia. Of course, I have to mention sub-regional Mekong, sub-regional region. This will be the next ... hotspot. Definitely, even though at the moment, the discussion so far on Mekong is about water management. That's why United States went in. Japan talk about preservation of environment. That's why they came in. But deep down, it's all politics. Just like America talk about freedom of navigation, safety, and all that. So Mekong is the next hot spot. So better watch out because it's inland, it's river, it's water, and it's all the adjacent borders. Already, I think China has made a very good proposal of forming international force already, 3 years already to patrol the river. This will expand. So this kind of things is something new. Now, my last point is the role of Thailand. Thailand is pretty unique. I think Thailand wants to be a bridge builder. Thailand wants to make sure that major power will not fight each other, and Thailand wants to make sure that ASEAN is safe. So Thailand now is engaging with all major powers, particularly India. It's unbelievable that after Modi came to power, Thailand and India has been discussing security cooperation so many times. All the top security leaders from India have visited Thailand, and India have identified Thailand as a strategic partner, not only in economic, but also in security and connectivity. India has expressed interest in investing in Taiwan's special economic zone, something that they have been looking at for a long time. And now India is trying to complete the trilateral road linking India, Myanmar, and Thailand. Having said that, Thailand must be the main focus of the United States at the moment. Otherwise, what would happen? Otherwise, we from Washington look at Thailand. Oh, Thailand is really now jump into the embrace of China. That is not the case, actually. Thailand will never become pro-China, I can guarantee you. Thailand will never become pro-anyone. Thailand is pro-Thai. Definitely, Thailand will never become pro-China. We'll be friendly to China, though. We are allied of the United States. And allied United States, I used to joke around, but don't take me seriously. We are allied of United States, but weekend we are with the Chinese. And then we tell the Americans only 2 days. That sort of relation. So I think there's a lot of room for improvement if America said, hey, better behave yourself. But America didn't say anything. America just ignored us. They look at other countries which provide a better direction. I mean, I can understand why people like Myanmar. They love Myanmar because Myanmar was bad. They are really bad. But Myanmar was good. They are better. 3 days, 3 months. Man, if Myanmar is like this for 3 years, Thailand finished. Indeed, because exactly. You look at Myanmar, they have one roadmap that carry out to the final state, finale. Thailand has hundreds of roadmaps unfinished. Different mentality. People love Myanmar. And if they don't like you, they kick you out. And that's also another backlash, So these are the region. But I'm very happy that the case that Thailand and Myanmar now are good friends. I hope it lasts. But again, you don't know what is going to come out in the post-election November 8th. But Thailand hoping that the status quo with Myanmar will continue. Now, you look around, for the first time in Thai history, we have a peaceful border. Remember 3 years ago, we at each other's throats, Thailand and Cambodia. Now, have you heard anything about Thailand and Cambodia? What is the name of the Hindu temple? Kapavihir or Vihan? Nobody cares. Oh, by the way, Hun Sen is coming to Bangkok, December 19. Incredible. Why? This is the dynamic of Southeast Asia. Sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. And in the case of Thai-Myanmar, surprising. Thai-Lao also very surprising. After Thailand sent back the monk, the relation has become normal, never before. So since the end of Third Indochina, Thailand has never good relation with anyone until today. Now I can say that Thailand has peaceful border. Of course, we have problems in the south with Malaysia. At least Malaysia is helping us. We are helping Myanmar with the peace process. So this environment increased the values of Thailand at the time that America completely ignored us. I will end here. Thank you.
Kavi, thank you. We knew when we invited you that you would challenge, you'd be entertaining, and that you would challenge a lot of the conventional thinking in Washington. And you didn't let us down, so thank you. Maybe before I open it up to the floor, I'll ask you a question about the theme that came up repeatedly, and that is you think the United States is missing the boat in Thailand. Considering the U.S. constraints from Congress, et cetera, can you tell us, what you might suggest the U.S. concretely do to make sure their relationship doesn't go off the rails?
Oh, the number one.
So we're opening the floor for questions. So identify yourself by raising your hand, and then wait for the microphone and identify yourself briefly, and then please, if you're going to give a speech, do it short and ask a question. Thank you. You're first. Sorry, I wasn't preaching at you. I was looking at you because I was getting ready to recognize you.
I'm Carl Gershman, President of the National Endowment for Democracy and a friend of Kavi. I want you to talk about what happened. In other words, why we have this problem. And in your entire talk, you mentioned the coup, but you haven't talked about the internal situation in Thailand, which obviously has something to do with the problem. And how does Thailand get back to where we can have a more normal relationship? I mean, you can say that the United States shouldn't, and the Congress shouldn't raise the issue of the coup, shouldn't raise the issue of democracy. But, how do you get back to the point where the people in the government are not wearing the boots, as you said? And just talk about that. Don't talk about our problem that, we feel that way or our Congress feels that way. Say something about the internal situation.
Thank you. Thailand is the most democratic mind country. No country drafts so many constitutions like the Thai. You have to give credit to the Thai. And we are very democratic mind. We want a perfect constitution. And we will get a new one, and it will not be perfect. That I can guarantee you. And no country in the world will be so democratic induced like the Thai. We want completely free, But of course, we have our problems. And I think you have to give us time. I think I'm not here to apologize. I think the Thai military is very unique when you compare to Tatmadaw or to TNI, It's completely different. The irony is this military regime try to prove that they are democratic. There are some countries in Southeast Asia, democratic elected try to prove they are not dictators, So this is the point. And I think Thailand is moving, and I think you have to give them time. And the engagement that you see is very intense. And I think America has to understand and appreciate that the Thai is not running away from democracy. Believe me, No Thai will allow. And I can guarantee you, I probably will face attitude adjustment later on. To say that if this government continue without listening to the people on the street, people would turn on the street and kick them out, even though it's a military government. Now they can still stay on power because they have done something that the Thai accept. For example, they have done well on anti-corruption, have done well on human trafficking. In fact, I'm the one who argued that the legacy of this Prayut, who didn't like the media, is not political reform. Because political reform in Thailand is very difficult because there are so many stakeholders who want equal partner. His legacy would be improving, eliminating human trafficking, improving migrant workers. That is why U Ting Seng, president of Myanmar, openly expressed gratitude to Prayut, saying that you have take care of our migrant workers. This is unbelievable. Because for years, that has been the point of contention, apart from the armed ethnic group. I didn't mention that the armed ethnic group, but later. So I think this is a situation. We are doing our job, but somehow the appreciation from Washington disappear. They only see that no election, no talk. And Thailand said, okay, we will have elections. We already, I think, after the failure to pass the constitution, the first thing the government come out say July 2017, the next election. But, as a Thai, I don't believe it. It can be any time, actually, if whoever now is trying to create a situation that will have a stable environment for elections. If Thaksin come back, fine, I think. But certain things has to be settled. I think Thailand need that time. And I think United States should understand this point. America has better understanding in the case of Egypt, the case of Vietnam, Israel, Saudi Arabia. Why not Thailand? I think the kind of dual approach is needed in this case. Otherwise, for example, in the past 15 months, I observed with amazement how the relation that had been built deteriorate between Thailand and US. I mean, US keep telling that, we maintain cover goal exercise. Cover goal is for America. Cover goal is for Americans, friends, other 23 countries, because if you don't practice, America will lose the so-called command and control, the interoperability of American friends. It's not for Thailand. And I tell you, don't quote me, whenever there is a copper goal, the best Thai senior official never attend. They stay with the boss. They never attend. And if you read the report of the Thai of copper gold, nothing. Nothing. So this kind of thing is new. It's not like before. And the Thai military and US military men, they do not have the kind of contact like they used to do. So direct communication, none. And the problem of no direct communication, you know what? You don't have personal relation. The reason why Thai-Chinese relations have improved and moved very quickly in the past 15 months, because they have established personal relation. And personal relation blossom into some other thing. And in Thailand, in our culture with the neighboring country, how can you explain Thailand and Myanmar? In the past 15 months, it's so quick, the development, peace process. Thailand now openly. Can you imagine Thailand openly hosts the armed ethnic group in Chiang Mai? This is the 10th time. In the past, you cannot do that. We openly open it. And Malaysia has, after years and years, now helping Thailand. So this is completely a new situation. I think America hasn't realized that, and America still impose very strict criteria. It's good. I think Thailand is not running away Backsliding is, Thailand, you mean Ramwong, you turn around, you move forward, you step back toward 2 steps. But nonetheless, we're moving forward, but at our own pace. I think you need to understand that. And I think at this particular moment, it's even more crucial for the United States to manifest this understanding through concrete action. As I said, you need low-level, high-level visit, discreet, stop using Twitter to show that I love you. You need body contacts. We love body contact, by the way. So that is it. It's so simple. The Chinese, the Japanese, they visit us all the time. And our leader visit them so many times. So it is this basic diplomacy. And I'm very happy that Obama mentioned the use of diplomacy in his UN speech. And in reality, this is completely lacking in Thai-US relations.
Other questions? Frank?
Frank Albert, just a quick question. The press reports here about the bombing in Bangkok recently suggested a causal relationship between that and the expulsion of the Uyghurs. Could you talk a little bit about that in the context of Thai-Chinese relations? Has it brought the two governments closer together, or has it raised questions in some people's minds about whether there should be such a close relationship?
Oh, this is a very good question. You know why? It's something new altogether. Thailand, often before the Erewhon bombing, Thailand always perceived itself as a friendly nation. Everybody loved to come to Thailand, even come to Thailand to plan one of, plans to kill other people, bomb other cities. They use Thailand R&R. Now, that has been chartered after Erewhon bomb. Now, you're talking about very 3 complex questions. You have the Uyghur, you have the extreme group, and you have, on top of the Thai-China relation, it's all intertwined. And it's very complicated because, as you know, up until today, the Thai police still give a very conflicting evidence or whatever from the investigation. But my take is this. This is a new phase of Thai-China relation. And actually, it should be done discreetly. Many countries in the region, Malaysia actually sent back 18 of them recently, no news. But in Thailand, you cannot hide anything. That's the problem. It's on TV when they arrest some of the Uyghur on TV. We love that. Anything must be on TV. And Cambodia also sent back. But Indonesia did not. Indonesia arrested 9 of them and put them in jail and tell the Chinese, we want to make sure they don't run away, because if they send them back, they could run away. So what is the implication? The implication is now, actually, China and Thai relations are much closer after this incident. Why? Because Thailand actually dragging its feet on Uyghur for almost 2 years and 3 months. Since the first batch, 370-something Uyghur land in Thailand after the failure to cross over to Malaysia. So we drag and drag, make sure that part of the population, the so-called Eastern Turkestan, or whatever you want to call, the women, the children have gone to Turkey. But it was the 109, the young men, the group targeted by the Chinese. And actually, there's a lot of disagreement within the Thai government, but in the end, the Thai decided to send back. And I think this entered a new phase of Thai-Chinese relation. Why? Because it caused harm to Thai people. From now on, Thailand has to think hard. And this will mark a new phase of Thailand foreign policy. In what way? This is my own take. That is, Thailand can no longer be vague we have to be able to say no to our friend, United States or even China, to preserve our national interest. For a long time, Thailand always played the safe game, sitting on the fence until the very end and make the decision. Now I think we cannot do so. And that is why it makes the whole Thai-US relation so important. And mistake could be made because you have this overemphasis. For example, throughout these 14, 15 months, no US view, nothing. All you have is all the friends that are coming to Thailand. So I think all the best thing that has happened is very one-sided. I think it's the time that US, reconsider. I'm not saying US should abandon democratic support of Thailand. It's important. We like it, but do it in a very, respectable way. Please don't tweet, I hate it. I mean, the Thai just hate it. Just make sure that you support us. Say good things when we deserve. I joke with the ambassador. I said that I'm so happy, every time I see Human Rights Watch came out with the report outlining the atrocity committed by Thailand, human rights violation. And nobody knows that Human Rights Watch is the most active in Thailand. Can you do that in Kuala Lumpur, in Singapore, in other parts? Only in Southeast Asia, Thailand. So nobody think about that. That Phil Robertson, he said that we just love Thailand, And that's the problem. So give Thailand a break, come on. That's what I want to say in short.
Ma'am.
Hi there, I'm Pat Cleveland. I teach cross-cultural business at the Smith School at the University of Maryland and had the pleasure of taking a number of student groups to visit and learn about Thailand. In our last visit, which was very exciting in January 13, we heard from our guys at the American Embassy that our relations were strong, that Thai economy was very strong, they were very optimistic, and gave us a very positive briefing, so I'm kind of surprised about some of the things that you have shared with us, and I wanted to ask you if you could say a little bit more about the laws that you had referred to a little bit ago that you believe impede trade, and I'm very curious why Thailand didn't sign on to TPP and what their kind of objections were just strictly on the economic relationships that we have.
I think to answer frankly, I don't know what the commerce ministers or those involved in the trade negotiation think. I think Thailand lacked the strategic thinking. That's all. My short answer. Vietnam has survived all this year because we survived under the old framework. Now it's completely new. That is why we're slow to react. So that's why TPP, there are a lot of factors. Of course, one of the factors is our internal domestic politics, uncertainty. If you negotiate, you're changing government halfway, what you're going to do. So I think that's it. But I think strategically we should join the TPP. As I said, if you don't like it, just leave. And then we will not get all this bad punishment on trip report. You see, you look at Vietnam. Vietnam is very happy. Vietnam now walk around in Washington. You look at human rights, no problem. Labor, no problems. What else? Embargo. Well, no problem. We can talk. Thailand, everything is a problem. Seriously, this is what is going on. So, what do you think now? It's good that Washington look at Thailand. You're a little bit close to China. We better move. Just like Myanmar. So good. I think that is a wake-up call. But I guarantee Thailand will never become pro-China. Definitely. We still eat chow mein, but our chow mein is different. But no, Thailand cannot.
So we're almost out of time, and I have two friends that are raising their hands. So what I might do, Kavi, take both their questions.
Sure.
So Prashant, do first, and then to Rafi over there.
Hi, so two quick questions, Kavi. So first, I wanted to ask you about the two sides of what you were talking about. So you mentioned the U.S. side, which is holding, I agree with you perfectly. I mean, holding Thailand to a higher standard relative to other countries. There has been an alliance. But you also hinted at the problem from the Thai side, which is the fact that you're used to having an alliance. So you're used to the Americans having a certain strategic value. And the strategic environment in Southeast Asia, as you correctly pointed out, has changed significantly. And so America has new partners now.
Yes.
Vietnam, well,
Yeah.
to a more extent, even Malaysia, Indonesia.
Yes.
So Thailand also needs to do, as you pointed out, their own homework
That's
in
correct.
terms of strategic thinking. And you pointed out in the last question, there's maybe a lack of strategic thinking. So I'm thinking, if Thailand were to make a stronger case for its strategic value to the United States in this new changing environment, what are some of the new things that it
Join
could
TPP.
talk about?
That's
Okay.
it. No, seriously.
Besides TPP.
TPP would lead to other. Secondly, 2+2. I think Thailand lacked the strategic thinking because foreign ministry has its own vision. The defense, which is used to American way of thinking, war doctrine. But today you can't. So you have. I always support 2+2. And now the America is thinking of resumption of strategic dialogue, which is good. And I think they have to promote it right away to 2+2. Whether it's the Thai might not be ready, but I think they need, because that is the only element. All the advanced strategic partner with the United States has 2+2, only Thailand. And that is long overdue.
Okay, and I wanted to ask you very quickly about Laos chairmanship of ASEAN next year. And this, you talked about ASEAN as a fulcrum. How do you see the chairmanship playing out, and what are our expectations for ASEAN?
Interesting. Laos is not like Cambodia. Laos is very cautious. Laos will be like Brunei chair. I think they will come up with a very long joint statement again. Just like Myanmar, you just list down everything you want. We won't cut you, it will make you mad. But Laos will, what is great about Laos is that Laos is very clever. They ask all the help from ASEAN country. So it's a chair. It's a chairmanship. So that is very unique. And Laos also have a lot of to answer for. You have this kind of Sombat Somporn, the well-known
Agronomist.
activist, social worker who disappeared. I think Laos must give a better explanation of this incident. Secondly, there will be no what do you call the interface between NGOs and the leaders. I think they have made decision. It's very sad. I think ASEAN tried to become people-oriented community. How can you eliminate one of the most important feature of people-oriented? Because ASEAN is very top-down. So it's very sad. But other than that, I'm quite confident that Laos can carry out. For example, on the political issue, people will focus on, of course, South China Sea. But I think Laos will have diplomatic fitness to finesse in the sense that they will handle this situation well. Why? I have to be very careful. I'm not trying to criticize Cambodia way of diplomacy, but the connectedness between the person who's going to deal with this issue is much more in the case of Laos with ASEAN. In the case of Cambodia, it was Honom Hong that really the person that really messed up the whole thing. So there's a personal side of it.
Thank you very much for the talk. Just a quick question. What are we supposed to make of the single internet gateway talk that has been going on for the last week? And it seems unlikely that Thailand would ever go the route of China and creating, a big firewall that the authorities could just shut down the whole internet. But if that, what do you make of it? And how far do you think that the current government will go in filtering, blocking internet content, and punishing people for what they say on the internet?
Yeah, frankly, I don't know, and I think it's a stupid idea that Thailand would do that, because Thailand at the same time wants to. Thailand can say a lot of internet, especially Facebook, Twitter. But of course, if you touch on the taboo, you get into trouble. But otherwise, it's free, 99.99%. But a lot of people will just say 1.9%, you know, that group. So they get all the news. I mean, what can I do? Thailand must remain a free country. And it's ridiculous, actually, since 2003, that Thailand imposed such a strong internet filtering system. Thailand is the only country with free press that with heavy internet filtering, you know, like Cuba and all these things. It all came from the wrong policy of a few people at IT. You know how much Thailand spent a day? 1.7 million baht a day to check the internet. Stupid ideas. But what can you do? Stupid people run stupid things. That's all you need. So I think they need to change. But don't be afraid. Bad policy cannot last. Bad government cannot last. You know, that's for sure. Thailand will be open. Of course, there will be crazy people who try to say, we can do this, we can do that, why don't we try, and then test out the idea. But in the end, they cannot. I don't think one gateway, you know, I heard about this. I was shocked. And personally, I don't think it's possible.
Great. Kavi, thank you very much. It was very interesting.
Thank you.